In this episode of Negative Modifier, we'll be playing the game Delta Green. Delta Green, by design, tackles various mature themes that may be uncomfortable or triggering for listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Previously on Negative Modifier, J-Cell was deployed on their first operation under the guidance of Mrs. Pine to clean up after retired Agent Clyde Bowman. J-Cell followed leads to a remote cabin where they encounter an unnatural entity. While the entity originally escaped, J-Cell managed to track the entity and salvage the operation with minimal exposure. The operation, while almost a failure, was deemed a success, and while nothing overly of note was recovered, several files were recovered that suggested Clyde Bowman may have not been as retired as he initially seemed.
Alright, so it's been, we'll call it a month or two, we'll say 2 months since the last time you heard from Miss Pine. The whole operation of kind of cleaning up after Clyde Bowman was considered a success. You've passed your first kind of inaugural mission in Delta Green. It could have gone better, it could have gone worse, but you got the job done. That's the important part. So it comes as no surprise to you that you all kind of, again, in similar fashion to last time, receive some spam mail. This from a senior dating website, all aimed directly specifically at you as a person. Like, they know your name, they have your address, and it's advertising all types of elderly women that are looking to meet you in your local area. And more importantly, it's advertising a mixer in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Who wants to go first on how they handle this whole situation and get to Baton Rouge? Hey, Agent Jumper, you've just been insulted by having a message sent to you saying elderly women are looking to meet you in your area. Come to Baton Rouge. What's your preparation for this? You recognize it as an obvious Delta Green kind of reach out, and this is your next mission?
Like, really? Alright, so yeah, I will, basically the same procedure as last time, seeing as I'm all the way up in Boston. I'll be flying in, taking my usual, press credentials, my cover being that I'm going down there to cover a story. I will send out a mass email to everybody saying, hey, I'm on location. We'll be out of town for a few days down in Baton Rouge. I think there might be a scam going on down there, scamming old people out of their money using that's my preparations. And I will again head out. Everything's kind of above board. I don't really try to hide my movements, but I always give like a legitimate, here's some fake research on a story.
Yeah, of the agents, you definitely have the most kind of free reign of getting around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You answered less
basically,
people.
I just come up with a folder of pseudo research and do a scam down there. In case somebody asks, what are you looking for?
Yeah, so. That'll work. Agent Jotun, how are you going to play this one off? What you telling people?
I'm going to give my original strategy another shot and see if I can find an excuse, a work-related excuse to actually travel there.
Okay, it is Louisiana. It would make a certain amount of sense. It's bayou country. That's the Gulf, kind of, how you kind of measure it. Yeah. What's the story you're trying to weave, I guess, in this instance? What's your explanation?
So first thing I'm going to do is see if I can get a lead that I can argue I've got to go investigate. Can I do that with a roll?
Yeah, that'd be bureaucracy, I think, to kind of look through potential case files, maybe some history to see if there's anything you could kind of play off of.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
You don't find anything, but again, it's Louisiana. It's lots of weird stuff happens out in the swamp, and again, Party City, there are reasons a DEA agent might be going to Louisiana, hypothetically. At the same time, though, too, Mississippi's right there, a state with absolutely terrible health coverage and stuff, so kind of the hillbilly heroin phenomenon's probably running rampant there a little bit. Again, not all DEA stuff is necessarily just illegal narcotics. Sometimes it's just legitimate drugs.
Right. And there is a DEA office in Baton Rouge. So I'm going to try to make up an excuse to. So my bureaucracy failure, does that mean that
you don't find anything necessarily, but like you could also just always take some more vacation time. You could. It kind of comes down to what way you're thinking about handling this. Like it, you're trying to be official.
Last time I called in sick, so this time I will to just vary it. I'll use vacation, I guess.
Okay. Agent Jackal.
Okay, last time I used vacation time to go to Milwaukee, and I don't have a ton of vacation time, so I was trying to think. Baton Rouge. Why does that sound familiar? And I remembered for guard training, I have about every other year, I have to go through like a conference or some kind of continuing education. And I remember meeting somebody from River Bend Station. It's a nuclear power plant in St. Francisville, Louisiana.
Sure.
And I actually have a business card. I mean, just sat next to him during a conference. Maybe we went out to a drink or something afterwards. But the fact is, I have this business card. I'm thinking, what if I tell my boss, the director of operations at the plant, this guy reached out to me, says he's willing to give me a tour of the facility, see how they run their guard operations, see if I can get down there. Maybe it's not paid, but maybe it's not time off. Kind of like a little favor or something like that.
No, it sounds logical. You just kind of approach me. You guys trying to like put together a packet to like further persuade your situation.
I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll print out some information on the station. Show them the business card. I'm not gonna try to.
You got the card, so give me a bureaucracy check at +10.
There you go.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice success. So yeah, you kind of assemble a pretty professional looking package of printouts and kind of some of the stuff they do down there, and you have the business card on top of it, and you present it to your boss, who's impressed by all this. David, this shows a rare amount of initiative for, well, a guard. We have a little discretionary money to set aside for these types of things. Would you like to know kind of what the competition's up to, I suppose? Yeah, we can definitely arrange this in the future. Is this an urgent thing you're hoping to get done immediately?
Well, it was within the next week or so, sir. I prefer to take Thursday and Friday off to do this next week.
Well, that's a little short notice, but I guess we could move some things around. Give me a persuade at +20 because you have this nice little official document put together. You don't quite. So yeah, they kind of like through your insistence. Like it seems a little bit weird to him that you're this insistent. That needs to be ASAP, but like he kind of bends and sways and goes, "Okay, yeah, sure. Fine, yeah, we'll pull some strings. We'll make some people work some overtime, whatever." I guess more it's like people will remember this is a little bit strange, I guess, but at the same time, like this guy, it makes sense that maybe it's a little bit urgent. All right, cool. So you're good. Agent Jetlag.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be too hard for me. So I checked the EPA regional district, and Mississippi is in the same one as Florida, where I'm usually working. So it's all within the same region, meaning it's all under the same EPA regional office purview, meaning my purview.
Sure.
So I would just kind of make the call that I got to go to Mississippi to look at something. I probably don't even need an excuse because it's Mississippi, and the EPA probably has lots of stuff to do in Mississippi.
So with that in mind, are you opening up an official case file or just kind of checking things out, I guess? Like, how official are you being about this investigation?
I'm not going to be super official unless they need me to be.
Well, that's up to you, I guess. Like, on one hand, it would make sense you'd be investigating this as an open file. There's nothing kind of weird about it, but at the same time, Delta Green doesn't want you having a lot of paperwork showing you were in the area. So it really comes down to kind of your choice.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it open. I'm not going to say anything.
All right, I'm going to persuade then. So you kind of approach your boss at work. So you're going out in the field, huh?
Yeah, there's a chemical spill over in the Gulf area by Mississippi.
Fair. Yeah, there's always something going on down there. Is it part of an ongoing investigation of any kind? Like, are anyone else already assigned to this? We should just look into this?
We don't have an ongoing investigation right now. I forgot I'm supposed to be a Southern guy. Well, we've got these. It's a state jurisdiction right now is kind of taking care of it, but we've just been asked to come in and consult if needed. So I'm just going to go take a look, see if there's anything there. It's a pretty small spill, so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot for us to do.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any paperwork about this. It could be a persuade. Failure?
Fail.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any paperwork about this. You sure got the right location? There's all kinds of stuff happening these days. I may have missed it, but you sure about this one?
Yeah, I can at least pull up the news article and show you what they're talking about, even if we missed the official memo.
Do you have a news article about this?
Sure.
Like an actual one?
Put it in the chat.
No, I'll believe you if there's actually one out there. Like that's a like, is there a thing you could actually point to, being like, hey, there's a thing going on right now?
Yep.
Fair enough. And give me a bureaucracy check on plus 20 on that one.
Which check?
Bureaucracy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Remember read off your scores when you get them, so they're in the recording. Yeah, so critical,
right.
Nice.
44% critical.
So yeah, he's amazed he missed this. Like, oh, holy shit! Like, we should definitely have someone down there. Good catch. You maybe even just scored some brownie points, and your boss could kind of cover his ass for him a little bit.
Yeah, well, after these hurricanes, there's always a lot of issues, so now's the time to go check it out.
Very good, very good. They'll just report in every once in a while. Report your findings. Yes. Good. All right. Yeah, a guy's almost flabbergasted he kind of missed it that hard. Like, it's... Yeah, a good call on that one. All right, so you get on the plane, or you arrive at the airport. There's been some plane tickets arranged for you. You kind of check in, do the normal thing, and you fly. Oh, let me correct. Is everyone flying to Louisiana?
I'm going to drive.
I will be fine.
All right. Anyone that's flying bring any especially weird equipment with them?
I'm going to bring my both of my pistols and my shotgun again. I won't try to get the carbine on a plane.
All right.
I will try to get the carbine on a plane. But I do get to travel with my sort of credentials this time.
Yeah. No, definitely. Makes all the sense in the world. So yeah, you arrive in muggy, late winter Louisiana. A little bit gross outside. There's mosquitoes. You guys doing rental cars? You've been given an address to kind of meet up at in Baton Rouge. It's just kind of a rental office, as best you can tell. You doing rental cars? You can take a cab. What's your plan for getting there?
So are we arriving together? Not arriving together.
That's up to you. Like, it would totally make sense to try and spend some time trying to find each other at the airport. You have a guess that probably the rest of you are coming in as part of this, but this is less kind of formal than the previous operation was.
I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that I would just run into these people, or that if this is our second operation, I don't think that I would just expect to see the same crew again necessarily, unless because I don't know if they set that expectation or not. If they did, correct me. But
not really. But yeah, that's a fair point to make.
I initially was going to say take a cab, but I think it makes more sense for me to rent, because I don't want somebody knowing. I don't want an extra person knowing where I'm going. So
well, sure. The address you have is just a generic kind of rental office park thing. Like, it's nothing really suspicious about that. People do that all the time.
I'm still going to rent a vehicle.
Sure. Makes sense. You do an SUV or kind of cheap sedan?
I would go cheap.
All right. Who else? I know someone drove down here in theory, so...
Yeah, I drove. I can pick somebody up if they need it.
You have no way of contacting each other necessarily. You didn't exactly exchange numbers at the last thing. That's a thing you could do now if you so wished. But yeah, so you drove, so you have all your gear with you. Jackal, jump. What are you doing?
Jackal will get a cheap sedan rental car as well.
All right.
Agent Jumper will grab a cab, but I will be paying cash. No credit card transactions.
Sure. Makes sense. Yeah, so you all kind of separately, but kind of around, slowly but surely trickle into this very generic looking building. It's if you'd not been told there was a building here, you may have driven by this 100 times, not knowing it was there. It's a super normal kind of industrial park. Lots of beige buildings. It's Louisiana, so that's even more generic because it looks like it was always meant to be temporary, and now it's become permanent just by people trying to knock it down. There's like 9 cars parked in the parking lot. You go inside the building number you were given, and once again, it's Miss Pine sitting in a conference room waiting for you. Agents, welcome to Louisiana.
Good to see you again, ma'am.
Likewise, I suppose. Obviously, our situations being better, we wouldn't have to have these types of meetings. But yes, welcome to Louisiana. Was everyone's flight pleasant?
Just fine.
Excellent. So we've had some time to go through Clyde's effects that you kind of rounded up for us in your last operation. And while much of it was kind of the slowly drifting into dementia ravings of an old man, we, based on your kind of noting of the Thule stuff that you found, we have found a potential location, organization of interest located down here in Louisiana. They're located about a half hour to an hour's drive from here in Baton Rouge, in a town called Livonia? I'm not quite sure you pronounce it. The name pronunciations are kind of strange down here. They're referred to as the Temonois de Crocodile. I'm sure I'm butchering that wrong. It's also a very bizarre kind of Google Translate approach to Cajun speak. It roughly translates to the Witness of the Alligator, or TDC. They seem to be kind of a, we'll call it, alt-right group operating out of down here. Small one, but the iconography they're using is troubling and links back to some previous organizations that the organization has had some dealings with, hence why they got flagged out of all the other possible ones that Clyde kind of dug up. We can't confirm anything necessarily is going, something there is worth even investigating, but we do need you to go check it out. Is this all your first time in Louisiana?
I have to say it is, yes.
Yeah.
Same.
Not mine. I've been here before.
Very good. So you have a tour guide, that means. How familiar are you with unincorporated territory?
Not very.
Well, so the basic crash course is when a area, town, city dips below a certain population mark and kind of governmental structure, it becomes unincorporated territory, and that brings with it a variety of both challenges and freedoms to a local populace. Large portions of Louisiana, even relatively close to major townships like here in Baton Rouge, have slipped into this instance. Livonia is on the teetering edge of that. So be prepared to be treated as outsiders in this situation. The town has a total population of just under 1,500 people.
So we'll likely stand out.
Most likely, yes. And I'm not sure what you know of Southern hospitality, but, well, the folks down here don't always take kind to outsider types. And kind of gestures, at least 2 of you are federal agents, after all.
Are they going to beat us to gators?
Quite possibly, but also that's a thing that just happens down here if you go the wrong way down a street. You've never been to Louisiana before, have you?
No.
There are entire towns that manage to sustain themselves by fining people based on public drunkenness and other law violations. It's quite sad in many ways.
Sorry, did you say we're going to get eaten by an alligator if we drive down the wrong street?
I mean, it's possible. Have you seen the roads out there? They just kind of end with some frequency. Speaking of which, what type of transportation have you secured for yourselves?
I just took a cab here.
I got that little Toyota.
I got a Honda.
Might I recommend exchanging it for something with a lift kit, a winch, and 4-wheel drive? There are rental companies down here that specialize in, won't quite call it off-roading equipment, but more rugged forms of transportation. No need to go renting a fan boat just yet, but I suspect you'll be finding yourselves on numbered dirt roads very quickly. From a tabletop perspective, this is the real thing about Louisiana. They have highways that are just straight up dirt roads. Like they aren't paved in large chunks of the state. And like as ridiculous as lift kits are, they're kind of mandatory in certain spots where it's like, yeah, there's a pothole there. Why? Because 9 people drive down this road once a week, and it just kind of got there over time. Kind of situations happen.
What did you drive here in jet lag?
SUV. Probably not good enough for long-term off-roading.
Well, I managed to get here on company money, so I'd rather not exchange. I'd rather not get a second rental car.
If you'd like, you can leave your cars here. We'll keep an eye on them so they don't go missing, and you can get your deposits back. We can also return them for you if you wish.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and return mine? So, can you? What you want us to go to U-Haul? Like, what's going on here?
Oh no, I'd recommend the company we flagged as being especially notorious in these circles is Crazy Jimmy's Souped Up Rides Rentals.
Sounds legitimate.
Crazy Jimmy is a character, to say the least.
Does he already have a case file, or we're gonna have to open one up on him?
He's just a civilian. He just rents trucks.
Just sounds like the kind that we might want to look into. You know, a little bit of a joke there.
This is no joking matter, Agent Jotun. What we do here is very serious, as I'm sure you learned on your previous outing.
That's true.
I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. You have a lovely sense.
Miss Pine just kind of sneers at that, like, okay, whatever. Any more questions, gentlemen and lady?
Let's go gator hunting.
Before you depart, we have managed to flag one person of interest in the TDC, a Joseph Big Joe Haskin. As best we can tell, he's the ringleader, frontman. We're not quite sure how the organization operates. We're expecting maybe 30 people tops, but he seems to at least be the public representative of Timoisdale Crocodilia. Crocodile? However you pronounce it. It's truly garbage.
You said
There are
Joe?
crocodiles.
Sorry, what was that?
name again?
The
Joe something or
witness
other?
of the alligator.
There we go. There aren't crocodiles in Louisiana.
And this is Big Joe.
That seems to be his layman's name, yes. Joseph Big Joe Haskin.
All right, where do we find him?
That'll be part of your operation. As best we can tell, the TDC seems to operate at least near out of Livonia. I'd recommend starting there. Beyond that, we've not been able to track much down. All signs point to them having some type of compound or something that might be worth investigating as part of this. But again, this is your operation, agents. Do it as you wish. If you can establish that there is nothing indeed dangerous about TDC and that they're just a bunch of redneck yahoos out in the woods playing white supremacist, while that's tragic and a problem in its own way, we don't deal with that type of thing here at the organization. That's for other federal agencies to deal with. We're only concerned with the unnatural, as I'm sure you now understand based on your previous excursion.
Yes, that's been very clear.
Good. Any other questions?
Not for me.
Nothing for me.
All right. So you guys going to Big Jimmy's truck rental?
Going to Big Jimmy's.
All right. How do you get there? Do you take one of the rental cars? Do you take a cab over? What's the plan?
I think we could all squeeze into a cab.
All right, so you get there. It's about like a 15-minute drive. You're a little bit outside of town at this point, and this place lives up to its name. It's gaudy as all hell, and the kind of entrance to the rental yard is 2 alligators headbutting into an arch as kind of 2 junked-out cars ride up their backs. It's absolutely gaudy and kind of ridiculous and kind of like a Disneyland acid nightmare as a result of it. And outside of the front is a guy in kind of jorts and an open Hawaiian shirt that's just like, well, howdy, you fellas and ladies looking to rent a truck?
We are.
Well, I got trucks if you're looking for one. Where are you going with this here truck? Let me make sure I can get you the right wheels and suspension and winch kit and other accoutrement for your journey.
We're gonna camp and fish.
Camp and fish. What you fishing for? Where are you camping?
We're headed up to Livonia, between Livonia and Par Lounge.
Livonia, beautiful country out there. Just a half-hour's drive or so outside of town. Gets real rural real quick. You sure you city folk prepared for that type of rural excursion?
We were ensured that you would have the right vehicle for this excursion.
Oh, if there's a vehicle for anywhere in the great state of Louisiana, I do indeed have it. The question is, are you prepared to rough it in the woods, so to speak?
We got our guide here. I motioned to Jetlag.
A fellow localman?
I'm from Florida, but I've spent quite a bit of time out near Baton Rouge.
Well, I suppose compared to these city folk, that's close enough. You do indeed come from a panhandle state of sorts. Not the right panhandle, I suppose, but we are, I guess, the boot, not the panhandle, so well enough. What can I help you, gentlemen and lady, with? Are you looking for 4 wheels? You looking for 3 wheels? You looking for 2 wheels? You looking for a fan boat of some kind? What you need? What you want?
Why would we want 3 wheels?
Some folk like them fancy trikes. I got a couple of them because people kept asking. They don't real move that much.
Okay.
I think four wheels will do.
Yeah, 4-wheel drive.
Are you anticipating rougher terrain, or are you going to stick mostly to highway?
My understanding is that around here it's not much different.
You've been well informed. Kind of leads you to the back, and there's 2 options. There is kind of this ridiculous, like, zebra print pattern paint job on this. Is like, it's not quite a monster truck, but it's definitely, to a layman, a monster truck style car. It's big wheels lifted off the ground. It used to be kind of some Toyota truck of some kind, and then next to it's a much smaller kind of SUV-ish vehicle on a lift kit. Again, it's lifted, it's definitely been modified, but it's nowhere near as ridiculous looking. Now, do you want the monster, or do you want the more practical vehicle? I'd recommend the monster. You want to be traveling style down here.
Practical, please.
More practical one as well.
Are you sure? The monster makes a hell of a statement when it enters the scene. Ain't gonna lose this anywhere in the swamp either. It's not gonna blend in. Nothing around here zebra stripe.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get away for a little bit. That's why we're doing this little camping trip. We don't really want people to notice us. We just want to enjoy ourselves, have some private time, drink some beer, catch some fish.
I understand. Now, will that be cash or plastic? And what name should I be putting here down on the form?
Well, I mean, we can probably cover it in cash. Might make the most sense for our guide since he'll be driving it to put a name down.
Well, since you ought to be paying in cash, for a small fee more, I can lose this paperwork, if you will. We can call it a moot point, if you will, if you're looking to travel inconspicuous-like.
That would be mighty kind of you.
It is a service I do offer here. Where did you say y'all were going off to again? Give me a persuade check on this one to kind of be forgettable. I'm going to make Agent Jetlag do it because he's been kind of singled out as your leader because he's the trail guide, for lack of a better phrase.
5% out of 50 success.
Nice. Doesn't matter. You told me already. I'm sure I'll remember it eventually. Now, for that small nominal fee, kind of you exchange some cash, you kind of write some stuff down. Just don't wreck it. We'll be mighty fine. You know when you'll be coming back with it, out of curiosity?
I think no more than 2 days.
2 days sounds lovely. If it's going to be a little bit longer, don't sweat too much. Just don't lose it. Just don't wreck it. We'll settle up as necessary afterwards. Will that be all? Can I offer you a map, some fine gator skin jerky, or some swamp cooler water?
Does the truck have a winch on it?
Indeed it does. All of my trucks of this size and larger have winches for those truly dastardly types of situations one might find themselves out in the swamp.
I'll take a map.
Can you tell me where I could buy some of those like Raider things? Like the overall coverall, like looking breeches.
You talking frog pants?
Yeah.
Well, any good store down here that sells sporting equipment of any kind will probably sell it, but yeah, there's a place down the road that I suppose you can get stocked up in wet equipment need be, little lady. Will that be all? One map, one set of directions to a store, anything else?
How much for one of them leather jackets?
I do not sell the jackets. I sell gator jerky, though, if that's what you were
Gator
alluding
jerky,
to.
that's what I meant. I want the gator jerky.
$5 a pound of gator jerky. It's fresh. I make it myself.
We'll take 1 pound.
Excellent. You know how much a pound of gator jerky would be?
A pound?
It's a lot. No, visually, that's like a small dictionary worth of jerky.
You can't pass the $5 then.
It's a hell of a deal. He makes it himself for a reason. Oh yeah, so you get your provisions, you have to get pointed out in the right direction, you got your truck. It's not as ridiculous as it could be, but initially you kind of feel absolutely silly in this thing. You're riding kind of higher off the ground than probably...
Do we have to make a climb check to get into it?
I will not do that to you. That's just like a thing Delta would require, but I suppose it's set up enough that you can kind of get into it relatively easily. Alright, so Agent Jumper mentioned she wanted to do some shopping, though. Anyone else kind of trying to stock up on stuff for you to get out of town, or what's the plan?
I guess it's a good idea for us to head to a sporting equipment store.
We are fishing. I put in air quotes.
I don't think he's gonna really pursue that too much. But
no, but that could be our cover for meeting the TTC that we got lost while out fishing. They're gonna wonder why we're in their area, and if we don't look the part, well, right now
Jumper, you
two look like agents, and he looks like a commando.
I assume you travel a little more incognito than that, but if that's how you dress on a normal basis, that's a whole other separate topic.
Well, I kind of agree with Jumper. I want to get some. I want to get an LSU Tiger shirt, maybe a camel hat. That should be pretty good for me. I already got my jeans on. That'll be local enough to at least not draw too much suspicion.
Jumper, you've taken my plain old excuse and made it into an excellent plan. Let's get some poles, some tackle. Let's do this.
I like your frog pants idea.
Ooh, do you use a crossbow to hunt gator?
Probably not.
You can.
You sure they use dynamite around here?
Do you think they'll sell dynamite?
Maybe
Yeah,
the TCP
probably.
will.
No, I think I don't know. They might fish with dynamite down here.
That's more like a construction store type of thing, hypothetically.
Yeah, jet lag would let us know if that's above board. But yeah, I think some fishing poles, some tackle should do us
You will
fine.
not be dynamiting my rivers and my lakes. Thank you very much.
Good
I
deal.
had no intention of it. All right, so we head to the sporting goods store.
Do you?
Yes.
Yep. Vroom vroom.
All right. So what are you buying there? Just kind of stuff you just talked about, or anything else?
I mean, everything to fix the cover. And I'm gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna be playing the part of the city slicker, doesn't know a thing about fishing. We'll be buying stupid mosquito nets, hat. I'm just gonna play up what I really am to play up the part. So I just buy tons of useless junk that they probably sell to city slickers who are coming down here to fish.
I'm going to get a good pair of waterproof boots, one of those vests with khaki vests with a ton of pockets, and then a hat with a little flat brim that goes all the way around.
Oh, I definitely do want one of those frog suits.
I'm going to skip the frog suit.
Accidentally. really
a hat that has a mosquito net that hangs around it, and a pair of frog pants or fishing waders.
All right, y'all, you're just going to embarrass yourselves. This is terrible. You're going to definitely know you are not from anywhere near here.
Not anywhere near here.
It's a good cover. I'll give him that. Give her
All
that.
right.
Well, so I guess kind of with that in mind, are you going to get fishing permits?
Assuming it's like most states where you just walk up to the counter and give them $15.
Pretty much, yeah. These are pretty cheap. Basic fishing permit, if you're a resident, is $9.50. If you're a non-resident, is $60.
Ooh, what's it cost to hunt gator?
Less.
All right, I want a permit for hunting gator.
So let me rephrase. If you're a resident, it costs $25. If you're if you're non-resident, it's $150.
Oh, I'm from here. Wink, wink.
You'd probably have to show like a government-issued ID to prove that.
Damn it. All right. I will not get a crossbow and a hunting license. And I'll just get a fishing permit and a fishing pole.
Well, so I guess, like, do you want the actual rules on what you can hunt gators with? Because I have them in front of me right now.
I don't think we should go in there saying we're going to.
I mean, as long as you have them. As long as you have them, let's hear them.
Bow and arrow can be used to dispatch alligators while on hook and line, see fishing method above, or to capture alligators. Barbed arrows must be used to capture alligators. A minimum of 300-pound test line must be securely attached to the head of the arrow in such a manner to prevent separation from the arrow head. The other end of the line must be attached to a stationary or floating object capable of maintaining the line above water when an alligator is attached. Bow and arrow may not be used by permitting if hunting on WMAs or public lakes.
Mm.
More or less the same rules for firearms, except you can't use shotguns. I think you have a shotgun.
I do, but if we're not hunting, I can claim that it's for self-defense, I guess. From the gators.
It's also Louisiana.
Yeah.
Not to speak disparagingly of Louisiana, but they have a very different view on guns than lots of other states do.
Yeah, there are parts of the country that's more conspicuous not to have a shotgun.
Yeah. Well, so you getting fishing permits at least, or no?
Regular fishing permits.
Yep.
All right, so that will require, in theory, your real names and identification. Like that will put you into a database of people that have registered for these permits. Are you okay with that?
No.
I am.
Okay.
Hey, jet lag.
Yes, sir.
Were we to get stopped, what's the likelihood you'd be able to flash your EPA credentials and talk us out of it?
I think I would have a pretty good shot. It's pretty easy to say we're doing a research project here on whatever river or lake we happen to be on at the time.
Well, so and again, that will cover you, but how are you going to explain the civilian and security guard and DEA agent?
Interns.
Okay.
Summer interns.
Okay.
Interns.
Okay.
I mean, as a member of the DEA, I can probably, I think, convince people that I have a reason to be out in the bayou, maybe.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like so much of a stretch. Not sure about the other two.
I think I'd be more comfortable playing the role of intern than trying to convince somebody why I'm out here.
Midlife crisis. Looking for a career change.
Fair enough. I'm not saying unless I need these covers, I'm just saying that these are things to think about.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so Agent Jumper, you still getting an official fishing permit?
Yes.
All right, cool. Anyone else or just her?
I better not.
With the exception of Agent Jotun, all of you do have official reasons to be down here. It could totally make sense that you're like, oh, I got an afternoon, I'll go fishing, and hey, this fishing permit's not that expensive. Again, I'm only asking the questions to plant this idea, the seed in your head kind of thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Arguably, it establishes why you're here in Louisiana. You're fishing.
Yeah, I'll do
I mean,
it.
I'm here on vacation in
Yeah.
theory, so I guess I can get one, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get one.
All right, so everyone's getting one?
I'm not going to get one.
All right.
Jet lag doesn't need one. Is it actually $60?
Yeah. It's $10 if you're local, though.
Ah, okay. I was going to say, it seems extremely high for a fishing permit.
Most of these things are, as you probably know from buying these, are kind of weighted in the local favor versus the, here from out of state, let's charge you a little bit of money for it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, none of that kind of is overly expensive. It doesn't kind of trigger any expenditure stuff, so cool. So yeah, we'll say it's kind of like early afternoon at this point. What's the plan? You guys gonna head out? You gonna maybe set up a base of operations? You're only like a half hour to an hour away from where you're trying to get to, so there's an argument to be made that it would make sense to kind of, like, you could in theory accept camp and then drive there. What's the play? You have no time frame on this one again. Like Mrs. Pine has not said, "Hey, you have X number of days to get this done." It's just a investigate this.
It might be good to find like a cheap hotel nearby them, and we could set up there.
Also, and I will say, the farther you get out of Baton Rouge, the deeper you will get into unincorporated territory, and the less chance you'll have to find anything. It's not totally desolate in this neck of the woods, but there's not a lot of stuff.
Skirt that
we get
edge.
tents?
Like I want to get onto the edge of like basically the furthest out we can get that we can get like a cheap motel.
I mean, if we're camping and fishing as the cover, did we get tents? And sleeping bags, we'd have food. Unless we are trying to stay at a... Here, I'll get out my handy-dandy smartphone and see if I can find a motel anywhere near Livonia.
Okay.
There's a Value Inn of Livonia.
Oh, you actually looked it up.
This is a real location. Livonia is a real place.
Valued Inn.
Rafus House B&B. I don't think we want a B&B.
No, Value Inn it is.
Yeah, less questions. In my experience, B&Bs, like, they ask a lot of questions. They want to get to know you. They want to be friendly. Ugh. No. We don't want that.
Jet lag. You go with the Value Inn?
Wherever. That works for me.
All
right. So, yeah, we
drive you're picked as your base camp, so you go there, you kind of rent a room. You paying in cash, you paying in credit card.
That's a good question. Are we just getting one room?
No.
Fine by me.
3 men and a lady staying in one room? That's mighty suspicious.
I'll be grab my own room. Especially since it's probably double bedrooms, right?
Yeah, I'll say it is.
But that also implies that one of the, like, 2 of the 3 guys are bunking together, which I have no problem with except for a comfort standpoint.
As for a pullout, I'll take the pullout.
All right, so are we at the Value Inn in Livonia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you want us to role play the desk encounter, or are we just go?
Yeah, I got my point across with the 3 men and a lady stayed in a room. Nah, I'm not gonna make that into much more than it needs to be.
So we get 2 rooms?
Yep.
I'll get my own room. I think I can afford a dumpy motel for one night. What is it, like $50 or something?
Yeah, it's...
That's a good point. Probably doesn't cost much.
No, this is not a wealthy area.
Jackal, you want to go splitsies?
Yeah, let's go half and half.
All right.
So what are we doing? Just dropping gear here, or?
Well, okay. Jet lag, Jumper, you 2 get set up in your rooms. Meet us in our room. We'll make that base operations, I guess.
Drop my stuff off in my room. Make sure there's no bed bugs, and then go over to...
Yeah, I guess to put the town of Livonia in perspective for you, it's the per capita income for the town is about $16,000. Like a total median income for a home is about $37,000 for an entire household.
All right, so we're set up and meeting in the room that's being shared by Jackal and Jotun.
Sounds like it.
All right. So we know that we're looking for this group. They might have a compound, we are told. Not a lot to go off of here.
Are we just going to drive around or go someplace and start talking, poking our noses? Other people's business?
We don't have a lot to go off of. And Jack, I believe you had a point.
Are we just going to go someplace and start asking around or what? You're right, we don't have a lot to go off of.
I'll remind you, very small town. Like, again, do you want some more Livonia facts? I guess. Like, I got them lined up for you if you want some more context for the town you're dealing with. Like, the town is 1.8 square miles, and everyone in the town lives inside of that 1.8 square miles. Like, there are roughly 500 households total in the entire town.
So we could scope out the place in a day. I mean, if there's a compound here, we'll probably find it.
Do we think the compound is in the city limits? Because I would guess if I'm going to build a compound, I'm not going to build it in town.
Yeah, I would say the DEA agent and also the EPA agent would know that, like, if you were going to do something like that, you wouldn't necessarily do it in town. It would be near town. Also, I'd point out that Miss Pine said this is just what they managed to track the organization to.
It's probably more plausible for a group of fishers to get lost outside of town than in town as well.
Maybe if we find a member, we could track them back to the compound, too.
What do we think a member of this organization would look like?
Well, somebody who would look like a Big Joe.
All right, we got him.
Well, there is a Tasty Cream Donuts up the street. That's right across from the high school. I don't know if that a cult leader would hang out there.
If I was a cult leader, I'd hang outside of high school all the time.
Agent Yotan, at the DEA, do you have any access to census records or DMV kind of things, or we can maybe get an address for this Big Joe Haskin?
Yeah, actually, I do.
Maybe we could start there.
All right, can we presume that I took my work computer with me?
Yeah, and you could also probably get access to it. Yeah, that seems like a relatively acceptable kind of thing you'd have done, hypothetically.
Okay, so I log into my work computer and search whatever databases I might have access to.
Yeah, so give me a search check on that one.
Okay. 39 out of 72 success.
Yeah, so you are successful, but you also kind of get reminded that the census data for places like Louisiana is not as useful as it is other places. Like, it gives you the rough population. It does really kind of confirm that this town is indeed small, but you can't get exact names from consensus data, really. Or that's not how census data works, really. Like, it gives you a sense. It tells you a couple things about the area, though, that you might be interested in. Like, the town population roughly breaks down to 91% white, 8.5% African American, 0.15% Asian, and 0.3% everything else. So very white town. The town has grown some, like also to put the perspective of the town in perspective, from 2010 to now, the population has gone down. Like, from 2000 to now, it went up 100 people and then dropped 100 people, basically. So the town is kind of in slight decline, is maybe a way of thinking of it. It's not a high population density. There are a couple kind of, based on just kind of searching on the internet some, you do find some rough points of interest, though, that might be worth kind of noting. You already mentioned the high school. But the high school is... where is that information? Yes, the high school is the high school is Livonia High School. Its mascot is the Wildcats. It's a green and gold color scheme. It's the high school for the local area. It's a far-reaching one for all the unincorporated territory around that area. Kind of based on a couple other kind of quick Googling, you also found that there's the Livonia Police Department. There's also a kind of relatively famous general store just based on like a couple searches you did on like travel advisory sites, and there's also a town hall / post office / gas station.
Town
yeah.
hall / post
yeah.
office.
So we're also near a wildlife refuge, it looks like. It might be a decent place to hide a compound. I don't know.
Are you looking at an actual map?
Yeah.
Yeah, Livonia actually exists again. Like, this is a real location.
Okay.
Not far from Atchafalaya National Wildlife Refuge. Atchafalaya River. That takes us from further from Baton Rouge, but closer to Lafayette, although I'm not sure how far. Let's see here.
I mean, what about like a phone book or something? Go back to analog. That only has a number in it, though.
Well, there's probably one in a drawer.
This is a religious organization. Do they have a website?
I googled to see if they have a website.
Not that you can find. Again, Mrs. Pine mentioned it's a very small organization, if such a thing even exists. Like, it's they only know about the flyers that Clyde managed to dig up that he kind of put into circulation on this. I will say that kind of as part of the parish, or whatever the right phrasing for it is, that Livonia is part of. You only have new roads as a city. Livonia and Verdoci, or I'm sure I'm butchering that wrong, as towns. You have a village named Morganzi, a census-designated place called Ventris, and then 50 areas deemed unincorporated territory in the kind of surrounding area.
There's also a place called Not Your Mama's Cafe and Tavern.
Yep.
Huh. Actually, that might be a good place to gather some information.
Might be. Well, we can go check. We gotta get dinner anyway, don't we?
We can get a drink.
Maybe we'll
I'm up for it.
bump into Big Joe in the pool hall.
Or, we might overhear some people talking about some crazy cult that's set up outside of town that caused trouble. Or we might not, and that's actually an indication that they might be integrated into them.
So this is kind of dicked up. To get to the to get to Not Your Mama's Cafe, we have to get onto 191, drive west, which is the opposite direction, for about the same distance, and then get on to 976, take it to 81, get back on to 190.
Remember when I said the roads in here are real dumb?
Are you sure there's not a back way? Like a gatorway? I don't know. Don't think I gatorways.
We can't get across that highway, so we have to drive 5 minutes out of our way up to Wiley United Methodist Church, hang a left, take that down to past another church, Sunlit Baptist Church, to 81, take 81 back. We cross a Union Pacific Railroad twice. Eventually, LARV. Eventually, we get back on. We catch 77. We get back on to 190. It looks not very far from where we are currently.
We can scope things out as we go.
Head east. Head east on that. So it's just it's comical. Driving kind of a Big Dipper sort of thing. All right. I'm ready to go.
All right, so go Not Your Mama's?
Not Your Mama's Cafe.
All right.
And Tavern.
Maybe we can ask, what do you guys think about asking around to see where the safe places are and the dangerous places are to fish for the weekend?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Give people those loaded questions and get them talking, maybe.
So what you doing first, I guess? That's my question.
Walking in.
4 seats at the bar? Is there a round table?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to ask around town, so you're going to Not Your Mama's. My bad. Okay, so everyone's going there?
Yeah. We're going to Not Your Mama.
All right, so you pull up to a kind of... It's a brick building. Maybe it's faux brick, you're not quite sure, but it appears to be almost a family-style restaurant. Like, it's not rough and tumble inside. It's very kind of Louisiana kitsch. I'm not going to say it caters to the tourists, because I'm not sure how many tourists get all the way out here, but it's about what you'd expect from this type of situation. It's not quite of like down south as you might expect it to be, but it's a restaurant.
It looks kind of hip.
Oh, I was expecting like sawdust on the floor and a spit in between or something.
Yeah, I was amazed at a website that worked.
Should we find a place a little more rough around the edges, or is this okay?
Well, I'm looking for dinner, so this is good by
How about
me.
we eat? Yeah, let's just eat some dinner. Maybe we can talk nice and friendly to our waiter or waitress. You know, they're probably local. Hopefully,
We should eat at the bar. That's where we're gonna
eat
get
at
the
the
most.
bar.
That's where we're gonna get the most. Talk time. Unless we sit in the booth and a couple of us go linger at the bar. Either way, we should talk to the bartender.
That's good.
What do you guys think?
Sit at the bar.
All right, so you're not there long before a bartender comes up to you. Again, it's kind of like we'll call this like late afternoon at this point, kind of thing. Like it's not quite evening, but it's still a little bit early to be at the bar. Hypothetically, you get served pretty quickly. What brings y'all to this part of town? Where are y'all from? What can I get y'all?
Oh, we're from all over. We're in town, hoping to get some fishing done. Actually, I am famished. What would you recommend?
It's all good, but is this your first time in Louisiana?
Mine, yes.
Well, I recommend anything Cajun off the menu then.
All right, I'll take a look here.
And if you're looking for fish, we're not that far away from the Mississippi River, although there's been some stuff going on with that lately.
Some stuff, you say?
It's never been a clean river, but there's been some talk about town, I guess.
Talk about...
Just stuff. I don't know exactly.
The river?
Are you saying that we should fish there or we shouldn't?
I mean, it's the biggest river in the area, but I don't know. I'll go get your food. All right, just give you an order.
I'm liking this char-grilled crab.
I'll take the gumbo.
Catfish for me.
I'll try the gumbo.
I got a small side of gumbo.
Going full Louisiana. I like it.
I mean,
All right, so your food comes. You guys drinking alcohol or what?
Oh,
Yeah.
just some hard lemonade.
Waiter kind of cocks his eye at you, like, okay.
Yeah, I'll have a beer, I guess.
I'll take a Diet Dr. Pepper.
I did not think to look up whether or not that exists in Louisiana, so I'm going to say it does. All right,
It's on
cool.
the tap of the picture I'm looking at.
Fair enough. I'll say it does. I did not find that picture yet. All right, cool. All right, so you got your food. You're kind of hanging out there. People are starting to trickle in some. Again, it's more of a kind of hip family restaurant than maybe you anticipated based off of the area. Like, again, this area is not like deep bayou, and it is still legally a town.
Maybe can I ask the bartender if Mississippi River is no good for fishing? What about the Atchaliah River down there in the National Wildlife Refuge? You hear anything about that?
And there's holes all over. Fishing's good where fishing's good. It's Mississippi's big, so you get big fish there. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that one. It's also fine too. Yeah, everything's fine really. You're just looking to fish, right?
Oh, we're looking for something quiet, looking to get away.
Yeah, the national park's probably your best bet then. The Mississippi is the Mississippi after all.
Well, where shouldn't we go then? For wanting to be quiet. I mean,
Oh, it's plenty safe for all y'all here. It's a friendly town. What have you heard?
I haven't heard anything.
Not familiar with Southern hospitality, are you, miss?
No, first time been here. I come from up north, if you haven't figured out.
So, yeah, about that. I mean, we just came out here. We figured that I was far enough away from any sort of metropolis that we might find some good fishing out here. What I guess we're kind of worried about is we don't know about gators and stuff like that. Is there any place that we want to avoid? Any remote spots that we shouldn't stumble into?
Just be safe and don't be putting your nose where your nose doesn't need to be, but nothing here is dangerous necessarily. Don't go like crashing your car off the road into a swamp, but that's just common sense.
When you say sticking your nose where your nose doesn't need to be, what do you mean by that?
People here are friendly, but they value their privacy like anywhere else. Are you looking for something specific?
Oh, we're just looking to stay out of trouble, looking to not, step
Don't
on
go
anybody's
looking for
toes.
trouble, and trouble won't find you. That's typically the way things work around here.
Well, let's say we're wading out in a spot that we don't particularly know. We don't want to accidentally. You said people value their privacy. We don't want to end up on anybody's private property.
Most are polite enough to shoot off a warning shot before they get too aggressive.
See, that's scary.
That's just how we do things down here. This is indeed your first time in Louisiana.
Indeed, it is. But yeah, no. It's got to be some private property around here that we have to avoid, right?
Yeah, people are mostly friendly as long as you're not disturbing them. Most people are right with it. There's obviously designated fishing areas and campgrounds and whatnot.
We were hoping not to run into any other fishermen.
Well, I would leave that up to you, but
All right.
Could I do a human intelligence check to see if there's anybody that's kind of around either at the bar or in one of the booths that's maybe listening a little too close to our conversation, or...
yeah. Go for it.
Can I do one to see if he's trying to send me a message that I'm not picking up on?
6 out of 50. Success.
You don't pick up on anything. Again, this is a relatively trendy, kind of nice restaurant. Like, it's also, like, this is a little bit outside of Livonia, too. I know on the map you're all looking at, it looks like it's very close, but again, like, that convoluted route you had to take to get here is not, like, that's probably enough to keep, like, the general locals of Livonia from going to it with any frequency. Yeah, like, it's like, again, small town. Wouldn't necessarily leave the town all that often unless they're leaving for good, kind of thing.
All right, so I think talking to the bartender is a dead end so far. So I'm going to finish up what I'm eating and pay.
No, I will, before we go, just to keep, like, the theme going on, I won't just stop talking. I'll ask about, is there any kind of, like, local events going on this week? I mean, we're going to be down here this weekend, so I was just wondering if, like, festivals or...
Nah, nothing special at this exact point in time.
Okay. Sometimes you just, you run into some, I didn't really plan anything, but, sometimes local events just happen. If they happen to be happening, I thought I'd check it out, but if not, that's okay.
Nothing especially noteworthy.
Is there any place we can go from here? No unkindness intended, but a bar or a tavern or something with some live music or some activity a little more lively than the restaurant here?
I'll level with you, sir. It's a little bit slim pickings around here. We got churches and we got not much else.
How many churches?
Yeah, you passed a kind of a general store on your way to the hotel. There's the town hall / post office / gas station.
Right.
And there's the Livonia Police Department.
Okay.
All right. I'll pay up too.
And so say it's like early evening, you guys leave. Not totally pointless, but no major leads came out of that, I guess. Like you got to try some Louisiana food, which is always nice. You're definitely full.
Well, what do you say we check out I don't know, take your pick. General store?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, let's start there, I guess.
Those kind of places have flyers and stuff, and maybe we might check out if they have like a community board or something.
Maybe they'll have a sign up for the cult where you can tear off a little number and call in.
Join the cult.
We're only that easily.
555-737.
CULT.
Don't think it'll be quite that easy.